tonight, the great Erineinhorn. Give it up for Erin. Let's go.
You never forget the first time you learn that your best friends, your clique, your crew, are actually a bunch of backstabbing bitches. For me, this revelation occurred, as it does for so many, in middle school. The day I learned that my friends, or the girls I sat with every day at lunch, were throwing a surprise party for a girl named Christine who was moving to Chicago. When I asked why I hadn't been invited to this party, one of them leveled with me. She said, "Because Christine doesn't like you, and none of the rest of us do either." Needless to say, I was gutted, so utterly destroyed that I did something no teenager ever wants to do. I went home crying to my mommy. I remember collapsing in my mother's arms in a puddle of tears and rage. I was so angry. I told my mom that I was going to ruin the surprise by telling Christine about the party. But my mom said, "No, don't do that. You can be better than that. Don't sink to their level." And I listened to her because my mother was so kind and comforting to me in that moment. So much so, I think, that she made me feel like I was loved and that I was lovable, and I didn't need to be mean to those girls just because they were mean to me. But also because my mother being so kind to me at that time was actually pretty remarkable, because I was 13, and my mom and I were not exactly in a kind to each other phase of our relationship. In fact, we were at a scream at each other phase of our relationship. We got along most of the time, and actually we had a lot of fun together. But when we were angry, which was often, we were cruel. We knew each other so well, we knew exactly where to stick the knife when we wanted to hurt one another. And in fact, just a few weeks after that surprise party, I was having some kind of fight with my mom. I have no idea what the fight was about, but I know I was mad because I looked at my mother and I said something along the lines of, "Why don't you stop being so lazy and go get a job?" See, my mother was sharp, really bright. She had 2 master's degrees. But when her children were born, she left the workforce to stay home with her kids. My mother had had a tumultuous childhood. In fact, she was a child Holocaust survivor. She had been moved around. She had 5 different mother figures in her life by the time she was 9. And she wanted a really different life for her children. She wanted us to have stability. And so she sacrificed her career to be there for her children. And I, at 13, was a really ungrateful little brat. And in the middle of this fight, I turned to my mother and I said, "You are an insult to the women's liberation movement." And my mother was rightfully incensed. And she looked at me with this look of disgust on her face. And she said, "You are a nasty little girl. No wonder your friends don't like you." That was the moment that shattered my relationship with my mother. After that, I never confided in her again because I didn't want her to have something on me that she could use against me in a moment of anger. And I've thought about that moment a lot since then, a lot lately. Actually, I've thought about both of those moments because today, all these years later, I am the mother of a teenage girl who inherited a lot of things from her mother and her grandmother. I mean, my daughter's great. I mean, we have a lot of fun together. She is kind, she is loving, she is compassionate. And she has inherited that mean streak that is her matrilineal legacy. And she can be mean, and she can be cruel. And I am so worried that I will say something or she will say something that will break this relationship like the last one. But then I think about the advice my mother gave to me that day. She said, you can be better than this. She didn't say you are better or you're always better. She said you can be better. And I can because I got a lot of things from my mother, not just the mean streak, but also that love, the ability to show a child that she is loved and that she is lovable. And that is the part of my mother that I am bringing to my relationship with my daughter. And I am teaching her how to be a good friend and how to recognize real friendship, because the backstabbing bitches are still out there, and neither my daughter nor I have any time for that.
Thank you. Give it up for Erin, everybody, taking us home tonight.